So you want to get some information on returns on eBay.
I'm sure I'm not the only one.
So today we are going to quickly go over the different types of returns and what that means for you as a buyer or as a seller.
Okay, so here's the scenario. I bought something from eBay. I want to send it back. What do I do? Or what can I do?
Yeah, so the one thing that's really good about eBay is that they have a 100% buyer satisfaction guarantee. And what that means is if you buy an item and you want to return it for any reason, you can. Even if the seller has a no return policy, eBay will force them to take a return. Now, coming from the seller's perspective, that's not always the best, but it does give a lot of confidence for people to come onto eBay that maybe wouldn't normally do it. And a lot of people don't know about this guarantee. So it is really good. Yeah. But the one thing it does break down to is, why do you want to return it?
Right.
Do you want to return it because you don't like it? Or is it because it's not as described?
Right. So what's the situation if it is one of those two things?
Yeah. So
like, what if it's remorse?
Yeah. So if it's a remorse case, that means, you bought it and you saw it at a thrift store and you bought it for cheaper and you just want to return this one. You are totally allowed to do that. You open a case for the return, you say you don't want it anymore, and you will ship it back. That will be at the buyer's expense. So you'll have to pay for the shipping to get it back.
Right.
And then once they get the item back, they will refund you what you paid for the item. So rightfully so, since you don't want it anymore, you're not going to get your original shipping back.
But of course not.
But you will get the item price back. Now, saying that, if you're going to be the one doing a return, make sure that you get tracked shipping, because if you don't, there are sellers out there that will just say it never came back.
That's a bummer. It's unfortunate that there's, I don't say shady, but, dishonest people doing that kind of thing.
Sadly, it's just all over the place. It happens. Yeah. And so then the other one is not as described. Those are the two most common cases that are going to be opened. And not as described is, you bought something, and let's just say you bought a game and you thought it was going to be the case, the manual, and the game, and it comes and it doesn't have the manual with it. Well, then it is not as described if it said it was supposed to come with it. And on that scenario, then it is up to the seller to provide the shipping labels for you to return it. Then once they get it back, they will have to refund you the shipping as well as the item price.
Right. So it's really just like, it's like a protection policy.
Yeah, and the whole point of it is to people that wouldn't normally think about going to eBay to now consider it, because it's protected.
It's so that the gate of access is not as difficult to get through, basically.
That's exactly it. And obviously, just by hearing me talk about it on an item not described, it's not as good for the seller, but it is the point that if you are selling, you are responsible to make sure that your ads reflect exactly what it is. If you're posting an iPod and the battery doesn't hold a charge, you need to have that in your listing so that whoever's buying it is expected to know that they are going to have to put a new battery in it.
That makes sense. It's something that, if that's information I'd want to know before I pull the trigger on something. So
yeah. And that kind of concludes the 100% buyer's guarantee. If you guys want to have or get some more information on stuff for eBay, like and subscribe.
And let us know down in the comments if you guys had what your experiences with eBay have been like. Have they been good? Have they been bad? Don't name any names, but we'd love to hear from you guys.
From both perspectives, as a buyer and a seller.
Because you got one of those here and another one of those here. Well, excuse me, seller, buyer.